Previously on VCR. One of the first rules of writing a great protagonist is simple. Make your audience care. After that review, I figured it was the perfect chance to step into Ballerina, the newest spin-off in the John Wick universe, and dissect the character of Eve Macaro, and answer the question, is she as relatable as John Wick?
You're him. The one they call the Baba Yaga.
Can we connect with her the way we did with our favorite puppy avenging assassin? Or does her story fall flat under the shadow of the Baba Yaga? Let's find out. The movie kicks off on a gorgeous coastal villa. We meet young Eve Macaro, a girl who loves nothing more than dancing with her daddy to Tchaikovsky's Swan Lake. Something all action movie fans can totally relate to, right? I mean, who didn't spend their childhood twirling around with their dad, living in a lavish mansion by the beach? Then, tragedy strikes. Stealth operatives creep from the shadows and attack Eve's father in the night. He manages to fight them off with smoke grenades he kept in a bathroom cabinet, a totally normal place to store them. He throws a brutal gender reveal party for the uninvited guests, but is ultimately cornered. Eve witnesses a cult leader confronting her dance-loving daddy. Turns out, the family's been on the run from an assassin cult. You know, the usual coming-of-age stuff. After a tense escape sequence, Eve's father is mortally wounded. He dies tragically in her arms. Oh no, the grief. Every ballet-loving, beachside mansion-dwelling rich girl on the run from assassin cults cried out in sorrow. Confused? Me too. But don't worry, it'll all make sense right after these messages.
Are you struggling to figure out if someone's being serious or just messing with you? Do you get angry at opinions that sound too silly to be true? Are you losing sleep over differing perspectives that mock your intelligence, integrity, and dignity? You might be suffering from sarcasm deficiency, a tragic condition affecting 32 out of 10 internet users every day. But now, there's hope. Introducing Sarcasium, the world's first sarcasm supplement, formulated to supercharge your humoro-immune system and deliver a potent daily dose of DGAF. Just 2 tablets a day, and you'll experience a 300% increase in tolerance for jokes, 24-hour protection against unsolicited outrage, and a renewed ability to simply chill. Sarcasium. I was being sarcastic, bro.
Look, sarcasm aside, I know full well Ballerina is supposed to be a revenge flick. It operates on the same DNA as John Wick. But here's the issue. The motivation behind Eve's revenge is kinda convoluted.
I'm looking for the tribe that killed my father.
And it makes it way less relatable. Instead of pulling us closer to Eve, the story drip feeds so much melodrama, it builds a barrier between us and her pain. Her relatability meter doesn't climb, it collapses, until we're left asking the same question. What the hell are we supposed to feel here? With John Wick, the setup was practically caveman logic. They killed the puppy was his last link to his wife, therefore, kill everyone.
When Ellen died, I lost everything until that dog arrived on my doorstep. In that moment, I received some semblance of hope, an opportunity to grieve unalone. And your son took that from me, stole that from me, killed that from me! So you can either hand over your son, or you can die screaming alongside him!
Simple, primal, brutally effective. Now compare that to Eve.
I had a family. Men came into my house, men from your tribe. They killed my father and tried to take me.
Her dad gets caught in an assassin cult drama, he dies tragically, and suddenly she's thrusted into a world of shadowy vendettas and obligations. The problem? Instead of a clean emotional hook, we get layers of lore, cult politics, and inherited grudges. It's like being told you should be really upset, but you're not given a reason you can connect to being upset. John Wick's motivation feels universal. Eve's feels corporate, like it's designed by a committee. Now, don't get me wrong. Ballerina, despite its flaws, is a competent action movie. The set pieces are well choreographed, beautifully shot, and occasionally even gorgeous. Sure, they run a little long, and yeah, there are a few flubs, like this gem right here. But here's the problem. Without strong character motivation for the audience to latch onto, the action becomes hollow. These aren't cathartic punches. We don't feel them in our gut. They're just impressive movements strung together like watching a really violent ballet recital. When I was watching John Wick, I wasn't just admiring the choreography. I was yelling at the screen, "Go get him, John. Get that son of a bitch." His punches were my punches. His revenge was my revenge. With Eve, it's different. I'm not emotionally invested. I'm just sitting back, arms crossed, going, nice kick. There's a lot to love about John Wick and its universe. You get justice porn for pet lovers, sexy fast cars for gearheads, breathtaking fight scenes and gunplay for the action junkies, and a shadowy underworld packed with lore, rules, and that ironic sense of honor among thieves. All that is bathed in neon lights and dressed in tailored suits. But the thing is, the door to this world didn't open because of the lore. It opened because we cared about a grieving widower and his dog. We let John, Helen, and Daisy carve out a space in our hearts before the high table even entered the picture. The rules mattered because John mattered. Ballerina, on the other hand, leans too heavily on pre-established lore and cameos, almost as if it doesn't even trust Eve to carry her own weight. Instead of carving her own space, the film tries to borrow Wick's and ends up reminding us he's the more interesting one. At the end of the day, John Wick worked because it made us care. We weren't cheering for the choreography or the lore first. We were rooting for a man grieving his wife and protecting the last thing she left him. The neon lights, the continental coins, the high table politics, all that only mattered because John mattered. Ballerina never cleared that same hurdle. Instead of letting Eve Macaro carve out her own space, it leans in on familiar cameos and pre-built lore, hoping the Wick universe would do the heavy lifting. The result? A film that looks stylish, moves gracefully, but never gives us a reason to root for its protagonist. Without the emotional anchor, all the ballet, bullets, and backflips in the world can't make the story resonate. So while I admire the craft, I walk away from Ballerina thinking less about Eve's journey and more about how much I miss John Wick. I'm VCR Guy, and this has been Very Cool Reviews. And remember, don't be mean, be kind, and rewind.
High kick, lipstick, chaos divine. Pirouette while I break your spine. Bro!